To the World Economic Forum meeting in Europe and Central Asia here in Vienna. Russia is set to unveil its new Kremlin-backed Russian direct investment fund next week in St. Petersburg. The state already pledged $10 billion to this fund, anticipating the biggest banks and funds will bring much more to Russia. And its CEO, Kirill Dmitriев, is making his first outing here in Vienna. He's joining me now. Kirill, how big do you expect this fund eventually be?
Well, the government has already pledged $10 billion into the fund. We expect that the fund will allow to bring another $50 billion or so in co-investments from foreign investors over the next 5-7 years.
How much money do you expect now, for example, after St. Petersburg? Do you expect immediate commitments?
Well, I think what's very important is that our co-investors will not be investing in the fund itself, but in the projects of the fund. So what we have so far is Chairman Liu of Chinese Investment Corporation publicly said that he would like to co-invest with the Russian Direct Investment Fund. But the specific amounts, the specific deals are subject to specific transactions that we will be doing. So I think we can say that lots of people are interested to co-invest with the fund. Now, if we can do good deals, we can show some specific results with those deals.
So can you elaborate a bit? What's the thinking behind the whole fund? Can't investors just invest without your fund?
Well, we actually spent a year traveling with Mr. Vladimir Dmitriev, chairman of Bank, to world's leading investors. And we heard two things that are important. First of all, many people believe you can make good returns in Russia. But second is they really need to have a partner to do so. And the number of people who would dramatically increase their investments in Russia or decide to invest in Russia is subject to having a good partner. So we want to have this partner, which is backed by the state, to actually show to investors that Russian government is sharing risks with them and believes that it can make very good return by co-investing with them.
Which banks or funds do you think? Which banks or funds do you think will commit in the end?
Well, we talked to the leading sovereign wealth funds in the world. We talked to the leading private equity funds to the world and to the strategics. And we had a meeting with Prime Minister Putin a couple of weeks ago, and we had $2 trillion present at the table, representing leading sovereign wealth funds and leading private equity funds. And the overall sense was very positive. Investors really like this concept. And, for example, Badr al-Saad, who is CEO of Kuwait Investment Authority, publicly said that they're considering significantly increasing their investment in Russia, co-investing with the fund.
What were those $2 trillion main concerns? What questions were asked?
You know, actually, there were lots of practical questions about taxation, about structuring. I think when you talk to world's leading investors, they do not care so much about making, big public statements or, criticizing significantly. Those were very practical questions on how we can structure this right. And the key question was, is the fund going to be focused on return? Because the concern was, what if the government uses the fund to foster strategic goals? And Mr. Putin was very clear. The fund is focused on return and return only.
What projects will the fund invest into?
There are a bunch of sectors that we believe are significantly interesting. First of all, middle class is growing in Russia. And actually, middle class is defined by people with over $10,000 in income a year, doubled in the last 5 years. So middle class, financial services, telecom businesses, retail are going to be important. Infrastructure projects. Russia is full of interesting, exciting infrastructure projects. And then energy savings, new energy is also going to be quite interesting. So the fund is not going to be restricted to particular industries, but obviously some we believe are more interesting to us.
Do you think a lot of investors will just hold for a moment and wait until the elections and will pledge money only after the elections?
Well, first of all, we are setting this up now. So I think we'll do our first deal probably by the end of the year, maybe even in Q1 of next year. So I think by that time, lots of the political questions will be answered. But we have tremendous interest right now. Lots of people are coming to us and saying, hey, we were thinking about doing a deal, we were not sure, but with you we definitely would do it. So we actually have a tremendous amount of deal flow happening right now.
Will you now go on a hiring spree? You wanted to create a team of 4 or 5 people, financial professionals. Where will you be looking for them? Will you be looking for them in Russia? Will you be looking for them in the West?
About 70% to 80% of the team will be Russians, 20 to 30% will be international. We just had a couple of meetings here actually in Davos with some of the candidates. They have 12 years of experience working with the leading private equity funds. But I think we'll go a little bit slowly. So we'll try to get 5-6 top people by September, October, and then we'll try to hire the rest of the team 20 investment professionals or so by the end of the year. It's very important for us to get high-quality people, but what we found is that lots of people really like this concept and would like to work with the fund.
Many thanks to Kirill Dmitriев, the chief executive of new Russian direct investment funds here in Vienna. This fund will be unveiled next week in St. Petersburg, and we will bring you much more from that international forum, the emerging markets' biggest forum of the year. I'm Kirill Dmitriев. This is Reuters.